Sprite-based retro platformers are one of my favorite genres, and the new game Whipseey and the Lost Atlas reminds me of classic NES platformers. But should Whipseey be seen straight onto your console, or will no amount of whipping get this one into shape? Whipseey and the Lost Atlas is very much a retro-inspired platformer of the late NES variety. It reminds me a bit of games like Kirby's Adventure, Euphoria, or the great Mr. Gimmick. In the game, you're playing as a young boy named Alex, who gets transformed by traveling into a book and becomes the creature known as Whipseey. This little pink creature is able to whip enemies and use the whip as a hovering device to get over gaps. The game doesn't evolve a whole lot. The mechanics that you're given right from the get-go are what you're going to need throughout. However, the game presents a lot of challenge with some pretty difficult areas that will really challenge your platforming skills in order to actually get through it. So, mastering the controls, the weight of Whipseey, and using the whip at the right moments is essential for being able to actually get through this game's levels. The game, unfortunately, isn't very long. The small handful of levels with your typical themes like castle, snow, forest aren't exceptionally long, but have some pretty difficult parts in them that may take several tries to finally get through. You have a limited number of lives, and when you run out, you're sent back to the map screen, and then you can re-enter the level with the full amount of lives in your arsenal. There are many moments of instant death. Tons of pits and instant death spikes line a lot of the levels, especially as you make it farther in, so it's very easy, even with your health bar, to lose a life instantly. More often than not, my lives were lost from instant death than from enemy encounters. The game control-wise was pretty decent, but Whipseey himself wasn't the funnest to platform with. He's a bit of a heavy character, and the whip and the propeller stuff are really fun to use, but also times was a bit difficult. Timing of the whip to hit enemies on the edge of platforms could be difficult, and there was a lot of felt like cheap deaths because of getting knocked back into pits or into spikes. But unfortunately, even with a few times of failing levels and having to repeat them, it didn't take me very long to see this game through to the end, roughly about an hour and a half to 2 hours at the absolute most. There sadly isn't a lot of extras like hidden compartments or items or upgrades or anything really like that to entice you to really look in any nook and cranny of levels. It's pretty straightforward, just trying to survive and getting through the more difficult platforming segments of the game, especially ones where you have to bounce off the heads of different enemies to get over large gaps. I will say presentation-wise, though, I did like the graphics. It has a nice, pleasant style to it, reminding me a lot, like I said, of Mr. Gimmick or Kirby. The graphics were bright, colorful, and reminded me of those late-era NES games that I absolutely love. I do wish that the controls were a bit tighter here and there was more content to the overall game. From the technical side of things, I didn't run into any problems as far as glitching or crashing of any sort. Whipseey and the Lost Atlas is available now on the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PC for $5.99. It does feature a Platinum Trophy on the PlayStation 4. Overall, the concept of Whipseey is actually pretty fun. Using the whip to get over gaps, some difficult platforming, and the like will challenge some of those that really like these retro style of games. But just the overall lack of real depth to everything makes Whipseey a little bit harder to straight up recommend as a great retro experience, but it is a pretty good one. I'm going to be giving Whipseey and the Lost Atlas a 7 out of 10. That's going to wrap up this review though. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.